The Book of Daniel functions as a corrupted database. It is a document buried under millennia of scribal overrides, formatting errors, and political revisions that we have to actively decompile to understand. The version surviving in the Masoretic Text is the shortest iteration of the book to reach the modern era, and from a structural standpoint, it remains the most enigmatic. The text exists as a bilingual chimera. The opening chapter, along with a few lines of the second, is written in Hebrew. Then, without warning, chapters 2 through 7 switch entirely to Aramaic, before the final chapters revert back to Hebrew. This fracture ignores all internal narrative logic. A natural division exists between the historical stories ending in chapter 6 and the apocalyptic prophecies beginning in chapter 7. Instead of dividing along that thematic line, the language barrier shears straight through the middle of the text. Surviving fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls confirm this isn't a modern anomaly. The manuscript was already split down the middle by the era of the Hasmonean dynasty. Reading Daniel as a seamless theological document requires ignoring the actual evidence on the page. We are looking at a chaotic collision of fragmented scrolls. When texts undergo centuries of manual copying, they suffer from an inertial multiplier, a phenomenon where minor, localized translation errors compound exponentially over successive generations. Early Hellenistic redactors like Origen struggled with these conflicting manuscripts, issuing massive recensions. By 150 AD, the scholar Theodotion encountered unreadable vocabulary in the primary texts. Instead of guessing, he obsessively transliterated the unknown sounds into the Greek alphabet, preserving phonetics while abandoning meaning. Theodotion's linguistic blind spots act as a trap for historical evidence. By refusing to translate what he didn't understand, he inadvertently created ghost data, fossilized fragments of much older source material hiding in plain sight. The opening chapters place Daniel and 3 other youths in 605 BC, taken from Jerusalem to Babylon to learn Chaldean knowledge. The text establishes their devout nature through a specific dietary restriction. The 4 youths refuse the Babylonian king's meat and wine, insisting on a strict regimen of vegetables and water. This strict vegetarianism actually contradicts the law of Moses, which mandated animal sacrifice and permitted wine. These traits align instead with the ancient religion of the Aramaic prophet Aram, whose followers practice similar asceticism. In versions of Daniel excluded from the Masoretic Text, the youth's famous song calls on the sun, the moon, and stars, deities worshipped in Judah until the reforms of King Josiah, to praise the Lord. This constellation of celestial worship and dietary refusal identifies them as Nasoraeans, a sect active in the region long before they were retroactively integrated into Jewish lore. The protagonists of these early chapters appear to be non-Israelite adherents of an entirely different religion, absorbed into the narrative as their original identities faded. The text specifically notes that Daniel was educated in the knowledge of the Chaldeans, a term that, in antiquity, was synonymous with Chaldean astrology. Daniel's famous night visions are highly specific, intellectual rhymes with ancient Near Eastern asterisms, directly referencing the geometry of the night sky. We see a visual breakdown of Daniel's 4th beast with many horns. The Egyptian depiction of Taurus forms a tight triangle of 5 stars. The Chaldean depiction of Taurus includes an extended body made of 10 additional stars. Daniel's description of a terrifying beast possessing exactly 10 horns maps with mathematical precision to the 10 body stars of the Babylonian Taurus, completely breaking from the older Egyptian tradition. The author was looking at a Chaldean astronomical system and transcribing that hard data into the text under the guise of prophetic imagery. The climax of Daniel's vision introduces the Ancient of Days, described as a man-like divine being sitting on a throne. Tracing the exact path across the sky that Daniel describes leads directly from Taurus to this specific arrangement, the asterism of Sa, known today as Orion. During the Egyptian Old Kingdom, between 4000 and 1700 BC, Sa was revered as the father of the gods, and the specific asterism that marked the northern vernal equinox. One of the most famous and vivid depictions of the divine in the Hebrew Bible is a direct conceptual cognate of a 4,000-year-old Egyptian constellation. Theology and astronomy provide the context, but the definitive proof of Daniel's origins relies on forensic linguistics and the physical mechanics of translation. Returning to this analysis of the manuscript, we see how Theodotion's Greek translation relies on the word flocks, traditionally rendered into English as blazing. The source word driving that translation in the Masoretic Aramaic text appears as shabibin. There is a severe linguistic problem here. Shabibin is not a valid Aramaic word in any known historical dialect. It is a precise plural transliteration of the Akkadian cuneiform word shabibu, which means sparks. Theodotion had no idea what this cuneiform loanword meant. He guessed the context required something like blazing, and by doing so, he locked a phonetic fossil directly into the Greek manuscript. This trapped cuneiform ghost data establishes a forensic link, demonstrating that the core of Daniel was drafted in Neo-Babylonian cuneiform long before it was ever transcribed into Aramaic, Hebrew, or Greek. Textual criticism operates under a heavy inaction tax. By passively accepting translations that have been smoothed over for theological cohesion, we lose the messy, complex reality of ancient history. This inaction forces historians to spend time defending impossibilities, like the existence of the text's Darius the Mede, rather than recognizing these figures as clumsy, redactional patch jobs meant to overwrite forgotten Babylonian kings. The Book of Daniel exists as a syncretic ledger, a master database recording the violent collision of multiple ancient cultures. It functions as a historical record of ideological synthesis, where separate belief systems were ground together into a single narrative. Woven into its pages are Iron Age Nasoraean dietary practices, Egyptian Old Kingdom astronomy, and Neo-Babylonian cuneiform, all forced to share space with Second Temple Judaism. The anomalies, the language breaks, and the bizarre astral imagery are not textual flaws. They are the source code. Only by decompiling these errors can we finally see the true architecture of the ancient Near East.